there's this guy that was selling water ionizers that I was loving this product. The water that I was consuming from this machine felt like $1 million. The owner ends up hitting me up and he's like, dude, I love this, but we don't have the affiliate system to do it. Can you help us dominate our competitors and crush them on Google and YouTube? I was like, well, yeah, I can do that too. I've just never thought about it. So my first ever stumbled into service because I was just trying to be an affiliate for this guy because I loved his product.
Pretend I'm in 10th grade. I've never heard the word affiliate marketing. How would you describe it?
So affiliate marketing is simply promoting something and getting paid for the sale. It could be with anything.
Just to show people what's possible, how much money did you make?
Over $1 million in sales, over $500,000 in a check to me.
$500,000 in 1 month.
I spent $150K to do it. On the back end, it generated several $1 million.
How did you know that $150,000 investment on your part would yield the $500K?
This was in 2019 when I did that promotion, and I knew it was Tony Robbins and Neil Graciosi. So number one, I knew that they could sell, go all in to win. I'm going to do everything within my power and my control to go all in, and I did it with excellence.
Hey everybody, if you're trying to launch and scale your expertise online, then this conversation is for you, my friend. With me today, I have Bryan Dulaney, who's recognized by Tony Robbins and Russell Brunson as the top 1% of all marketers. Let me repeat that, top 1% of all marketers and funnel builders in the world. Bryan has generated over $500 million for his clients, partners, and in his own campaigns. I knew of Bryan because I saw him winning all those big plaques from ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson, but I had a chance to actually meet Bryan recently when I joined the Millionaire Man Cave. It's a brotherhood community for men, which he co-founded, which is super cool. We'll touch on that later today as well. Personally, I love these types of communities because they focus on helping men become better husbands, fathers, leaders in their communities. So, but I want to kick it off, Bryan. By the way, welcome to the Relentless Goal Achievers podcast. I want to kick it off about your you as a business person, right? And I'm very curious to know how that whole thing transitioned into the Millionaire Man Cave. But how does a guy from, I think it's like Amish country, Pennsylvania, if I remember correctly, go to being top 1% or recognized by Tony Robbins and Russell Brunson as top 1%?
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for having me on the show today, Eric. Great to be here.
Thanks for being here.
So, I grew up I call it the land of horse and buggies outside of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And, I've always been an entrepreneur though. Like even as a little kid, I was thinking of ways to create and ways to invent things and ways to monetize at a very young age. So I do contribute that to my dad was an entrepreneur. My great grandfather was an inventor. And
what did he invent?
So he invented a fishing contraption. Unfortunately, he partnered with an attorney and the attorney cut him out of the deal and he sold the patent out from under him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was my first lesson in life, was always make sure you have an agreement and have your own attorney look at it and review it before you sign it. My dad, he started a trade show company with his brother and literally built billion-dollar brands because of it. And they basically brought together buyers and sellers in the industry of supply chain technology, warehouse management solutions. And he was really a broker. But the lesson for me with him was he didn't, if he would have just gotten like even 1%, he would have been very different. His business would have been completely different. Because literally there's billion-dollar companies that got built because of my dad's trade show. But as a kid, I started selling Jolly Ranchers in like 4th or 5th grade. There was pencil wars back in the day. I sold pencils. Oh, yeah. We did pencil wars. That was fun. And so I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I've always gone against the grain, if you will. My parents would tell me to go left, I'd go right. Yeah. I had my own driving willpower that would drive me in different directions. Sometimes they were healthy, sometimes they were not.
Yeah. Did you grow up Amish?
No, I grew up Catholic. We were just surrounded by a lot of Amish and a lot of farms. Um, but we were about an hour out of Philly. We tried to avoid Philly because Philly was where all the crime typically was, and so we tended to stay away from big cities. But I grew up mainly, it was out in the countries, the suburbs of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Hershey Park is up there, isn't it?
Yeah, Hershey Park's probably 40 minutes away
Yeah, so
from
I
where
grew
I
up in
grew up.
Baltimore, and we would go to Hershey Park and go through Lancaster, and I would see all the pies being sold and the Amish with their horses and buggies, and it's pretty neat. And then moved to Sarasota. I had no idea. I thought they were Amish, but it's Mennonite. I had no idea it's
That's
such a
right.
huge Mennonite population here, but that's really cool to see that. Um, cool. So you were an entrepreneur, grandfather, father. Um, how I know you went to college, get out of college, what happens? Like how do you get to the Russell Brunson's, ClickFunnels stage?
Yeah, so I started as an affiliate marketer. Okay. And so I was in college, I was working on so I got my bachelor's degree in marketing because I figured I could use that for anything.
Mhm.
Right. And then I went on to my master's degree in entrepreneurship because I, quite frankly, didn't want to go get a job and I wanted to keep the student debt train rolling. I was like, well, I got to figure something out because I don't want to go get a $40,000 to $50,000 a year job. No one's going to pay me $250,000 out of college, you know. And so I landed on affiliate marketing. I learned from some OGs in that space of how do you drive traffic and how do you make commissions on sales you drive. And one of the early things that I did was I found a mentor. I'm a secondary black belt in Taekwondo. And so I one day thought of like, okay, I'm buying all these courses, I'm going to these events, like, but in martial arts, I had a sensei. I had to go to the dojo 3 times a week. And I had a mentor really challenging me every single week for 7 years straight. And, I was like, I probably should find a mentor, like find someone who's got the results I want and just figure out how to pay them. And kind of that happened by luck as well, because there was this guy that was selling, he was an affiliate. We also had a 7-figure business as an agency. And I bought a product through him and I got a 1 hour Skype call with him. And it was amazing. And like, dude, how can I get more coaching? Like, how can I get more of this? He's like, well, I don't have a coaching program. I'm like, well, what's it going to take for you to have a coaching program? Because I need more of these calls. Like, I'll do exactly what you tell me to do. So I end up talking him into mentoring me, taking me under his wing. And it was more money than I could afford at the time. But he took me under my wing and kind of taught me the ropes. And then literally, like, I did exactly what he told me to do. Spent $500 on Google AdWords campaigns, made 20,000 in sales in like 3 days, and 10,000 in commissions. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stop this bleeding of this master's degree, and I'm just gonna go full time affiliate marketer.
I love it. What was the product? Do you remember?
The product back then, well, the very first product was a course, was a $2,000 course. That's when I made my first sale. The 20K in 3 days was a software course. So it was software plus a course, and I got $1,000 per pop.
Wow.
So yeah,
Who's
um,
do you remember what it was?
I don't. The first course I ever promoted was Mike Filsame's Butterfly Marketing. That was the very first one, and I don't remember the second one. I promoted a lot of things. I I did something that was like a little bit more higher ticket, which 2K is like a little bit more higher ticket. It's still not high ticket, but it's a little more higher ticket than like I did a lot of free trials. So like acai berry and weight loss and colon cleanses and so I would drive just free trials and I get paid 45, $50 per trial. And and I got really good at that. 1 second, let me charge this thing. Ah, okay. Come in. Um so I got really good at driving free trials. And so this one product that was hot at the time, and Oprah had come on and talked about it. It was called resveratrol. So at the time, I owned this website called Resveratrol Ultra Reviews, which the brand term was Resveratrol Ultra, and I simply ran Yahoo traffic at the time. It was Yahoo ads. I couldn't get Google ads to be profitable, so I used Yahoo ads and got it to a point where I was doing 2,000 to 3,000 a day in profits on like 3 keywords.
Okay, so for those who are not familiar with affiliate marketing, just pretend I'm in 10th grade. I've never heard the word affiliate marketing. How would you describe this?
Yeah. So affiliate marketing is simply promoting something and getting paid for the sale, right? So it could be with anything. I mean, you can anybody that has an affiliate program. A lot of companies do. You just don't know about it because it's in the footer. But they'll typically pay you on a per lead basis or a per sale basis. Now, my mentor taught me, that a couple of fundamental things, and that was number one, that if I'm going to drive traffic, I need to have enough to cover the cost of acquisition, which is advertising, and I needed enough to profit. So that was one thing that he drove home to me when I was running paid traffic. He's like, yeah, you could do free traffic strategies. He's like, but if you want something that you can just flip on and off whenever you want, you're going to need to master paid traffic. So that's inevitably what I did. So really, it's just referring something to someone that they buy. Now, one of the things that I did early on because of my mentor's advice was he said, well, give people a reason to buy through you versus someone else. So put together some bonuses that people get when they buy through you, and just give them a reason to go through you. And that was a game changer. That's how I did the 20,000 in sales in 3 days as literally a nobody. Now, from that, which was really fascinating at the time, I was building an email list. So I'd have them opt into the email list and then they would go buy. I remember there was a launch that Perry Belcher did around social media marketing. And at the time, I had this small list of maybe a couple thousand people at the time that I was putting onto a database. All I did is send an email out and promoted this thing. And I was at Mike's event, and so it was Phil Same. It was Perry wasn't there, but it was like a couple OGs in the marketing space. We went for break, and I went back up. I checked my stats, and it was like leaderboard, and I had me above Frank Kern.
No
it was like
way.
Brandon Burchard, and like I was like above Mike. Mike was like fourth place. I was like third place. I was like, how's this possible? I was like, now one of the things I did was I bought the exact domain, and I just put an S at the end of it. And so I think some people just happen to get there because they just typed it in wrong and just automatically cooked them.
That's brilliant. That is genius. So you mentioned Brandon Burchard. Is this before he was known as like the performance coach? Okay,
yeah,
so
this
he
was
was
before. And Brandon got his like claim to fame. I mean, what he did was brilliant. He joined a bunch of high level masterminds, paid 15,000, 25,000, and just joined all these top level masterminds, and then got all these affiliates to promote his launches. That's how Brendan made his way onto the stage. A lot of people don't know that. One of my designers did all of his funnels, and so I got a little peek behind the curtain on that scenario. But yeah, that was his leverage point, was affiliates, because they already have the relationship with an audience, right?
Yeah.
So that's how he blew up. He blew up not from paid traffic. Paid traffic helped, but it was because, I mean, imagine if you had 100 affiliates that are like him, that can drive thousands of registrants. It's impossible to not do well.
I love it. I mean, by the way, when I use a product, I've never actually focused on being an affiliate, but when I use a product that I absolutely love, I literally Google the product name and affiliate program, and I sign up. I get the link, because when I recommend everything I use that works. I just got a brand new pre-workout that's like super duper healthy, allulose, monk fruit as sweeteners, couple of 100 grams of milk. What's it called? Caffeine. I asked ChatGPT if it takes you out of ketosis, and it doesn't. If it takes you out of a fast, and it doesn't. I'm like, this is incredible. I love it. So I'm gonna check out like sometime this week if he's got an affiliate program. If not, I'm gonna reach out and say, hey, dude, get an affiliate program going.
Yeah, send me the link, bro. I'm looking for a new pre-workout.
Yeah, no,
And
I was looking.
That's my first company that I stumbled into the agency work because there's this guy that was selling water ionizers that I was loving this product. The water that I was consuming from this machine, I felt like $1 million. And so I approached this company, and they were selling these water ionizers for $2,000. And I said, hey, do you guys have an affiliate program? I'd love to send you buyers. And so they hit me back and they're like, hey, you can buy the machines for 1,000 and sell them for 2. And my response was, no, 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 no. I'm going to send you buyers. You're going to send me $1,000 check. I ain't buying nothing. Like, I'm just going to send you buyers. So the owner ends up hitting me up. And he's like, dude, I love this, but we don't have the affiliate system to do it. Can you help us dominate our competitors and crush them on Google and YouTube and blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, yeah, I can do that too. I've just never thought about it. So my first ever stumbled into service because I was just trying to be an affiliate for this guy because I loved his product.
And so you stumbled into the marketing agency this way.
I did. I stumbled into the marketing agency because at that time I was in my 20s and I wasn't necessarily looking to start an agency or a service business. It just fell in my lap. And we crushed it for that guy. Did over 20 million sales for them. Absolutely crushed and smoked their competitors. And that was like
20 million.
Yeah, 20 million that year in sales. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Your top month as an affiliate, like just to show people what's possible, how much money did you make in revenue and profit?
Yeah. So over $1 million in sales, over $500,000 in a check to me.
$500,000 in 1 month that was a check to you after promoting somebody else's product or service. Meaning
That's right.
You didn't create it. You didn't take any risk. You just liked the product service. Yep. You went out to the web. You knew how to get eyeballs on it, probably added some bonuses, and boom.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, so I spent $150K to do it, but on the back end, it generated several $1 million, over $2 million. Okay. So if you think about the math, right, it's like spent $150,000, generated over $1 million in sales, of which $500,000 was mine to keep, right? So it's instantly profitable. But then on the back end, what we did is we threw a bonus where everybody could come to an event. There was a 3-day event. And at that 3-day event, we introduced our $25,000 mastermind and had over 60 people sign up for the mastermind in that one weekend.
That's amazing.
And a handful of people applied for a $100,000 program.
So there are people that are watching and they're saying, well, I don't have 150 grand to spend to make 500,000. If you were starting all over, like take the knowledge you have now, but you got no money. You're just coming out of college with all the knowledge. What would you do?
Yeah. So coming out with nothing, right? The name of the game is building the list, but it's I would find a product that I passionately support. I would start posting on social, right? I would join groups of people because you can join free groups. And I would start adding value. Would find a way to add value to people's lives and be seen as a value provider.
Can you give me an example?
So like providing value is finding people that are having problems and then finding a way to help them solve it.
So let's say you like this pre-workout because hopefully he's got an affiliate list and I'm going to go follow your advice. You love this pre-workout. You're probably joining fitness groups on Facebook and wherever they are.
Yep.
And how do you add value?
So I would, number one, I would be very actively engaged in that community. So when other people are posting, I would like their posts and I would comment on their posts and I would start becoming visible. Right. Like that's the first step, become visible. Right. And so people are typically going to post in a group when they're looking for advice or they're looking for help or they're, that's why they're posting in the first place. Right. So I would get in there and I would at least like their posts. I would comment on their posts and I would start getting my name in front of the eyeballs of that group. Then I would also post in that group and give advice that's like tangible advice that someone can do that doesn't require a ton of work, but they can do it and they can see an outcome in their life. This is what I apply, whether you're an affiliate or whether you're an expert. Like, it doesn't really matter. I call it earning the right to make an offer. So how do you earn the right to make an offer, right? Because you don't want to just be like that annoying real estate agent that goes to networking events and pitches real estate services. Like, we've all run into them and it's just annoying. It's like, dude, I don't even know your name. Like you're pitching the fact that you're a realtor. Like, okay, great. right?
Or
Like
the
let's go.
microgreens where every 2 seconds you see them making a shake and drinking it with a link, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like first seek to be a value provider, right? And so that can look like many things. I mean, you can post on social once a day where you're adding value of some type. The big thing here is that when people implement whatever the information that you're sharing with them, when they implement it, they get a result because you want them to think in the back of their brain, the information that Eric just gave me worked. What else does Eric have that will work? Right. And so it's kind of like planting seeds, right? Like every piece of content that you post on social, that's like a seed, right? The more seeds you plant, the more opportunities you have for crops to produce, right? So that's how I like to look at it. Earn the right to make an offer. And then once you've built rapport and connection, then you can make the offer, right? And it's not weird. It's not awkward because you've already provided value in the life. And
Right in
that's
the
just
group you'd
core
make the
fundamental.
offer? Are
No,
you
I
taking
would
them
not make the
offline?
group. No, 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 no. I would make the group on DMs offline, just because if you post into a group an offer, you're likely going to get banned.
Yep, 100%. Okay, so that's how you would start off. Find a product, if I hear you correctly, find a product you're passionate about, join groups of others who might be in the area where this product solves a problem for them. So in our case, if it's a pre-workout, they're in a fitness community. And then
And if I was starting out from nothing, I would probably do DM stuff like DM marketing, where there's software. Well, I have a partner that runs a platform called FlowChat, and it literally like automates the entire DM selling process. But you can join groups of people and then you can start to have conversations. But the key premise here is like, if you're going to do this, don't be like everybody else and like just pitch products or pitch services or pitch offers. Actually, actually provide value first and deepen it in the relationship, then make the offer. And that's a big thing that people don't do when they do DMs. They just think, oh, I'm looking for sale. I need to generate money. And they jump right into being that realtor again. It's like, no. Like, it's like at church, you go to church, you meet someone for the first time. It's like, I'm not going to roll in and just instantly be like, hey, I got an agency. I can help you market your business. No, I'm going to build a rapport and a relationship. I might go out to have some coffee or have some lunch. Like I'm going to get to know them first. People don't know how much you care until they know. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Right. So just, genuinely do what you would do in real life. Like I always say, the internet's not that complicated when you look at it through the lens of like, what would you actually do in real life? Right. When you meet someone for the first time at church, you wouldn't pitch them on your weight loss supplement, right? It's just not a good strategy, right? You're going to get a lot of no's. Now, if you want to apply the 100X rule, which is like talk to 100 people and close one, like great. I'd rather talk to 10 and close 8 over 100 and have 2.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. And that's actually the same thing I teach when I talk to B2B sales professionals about LinkedIn, or if I'm coaching someone and they're like, Eric, I'm going to send this message to the CEO on LinkedIn. And I look at it and it's like this freaking 4-paragraph, professionally done. I was like, okay, let's say that you were about to send this, but you realized you're running late for lunch and you paused it, you ran out to the lunch, and that guy is sitting at your table. Would you say that to them? Like,
Yeah.
no. What would you say? And then yeah. So we change it up. No, that's really, really cool. Okay. So that's the affiliate piece. How are you so confident though? Like, how did you know that $150,000 investment on your part would yield the 500K?
Yep. So that's a great question. This was in 2019 when I did that promotion. And I knew it was Tony Robbins and Neil Graciosi, and they came together and created a product that was a $2,000 product. So number one, I knew that they could sell, right? Okay. I knew that Tony's a beast at selling. Okay. Dean's a great marketer. Tony's he's great at motivation, but he's really great at selling. So I knew that I could, hitch my bandwagon to their cart, if you will. And when I went into it, I said, because I talked to my wife about it, I was like, hey, like, I want to promote this. Let's put 50K in. Let's start there and see how it goes. But the one big thing that they had was like the top 10 affiliates could go to Fiji and hang out with Tony on his private resort in Namale, is what the resort is called, for a week and get to pick, get to pick his brain on your business. So the 50K to start, number one, I knew that I can spend money to acquire a $2,000 customer that wasn't going to cost me $1,000. But I was willing to spend $1,000 to acquire a buyer, because that was all what we call front end profitability, right? It's front end. That's the front end of the funnel. That's the beginning of their world. I knew that because I would promote this, that I would get some high ticket clients on the back end as the aftermath. Now, that's because I've been doing this for a long time, right? 2019, I've already in the game for over a decade.
Like if you're promoting, you're sending traffic to their landing page. It's with your link. Buy, don't buy. Why would you then get, because anything else they buy would also be credited to you? Is that how that program would work?
No, we only got credited on that one sale. And so, yeah, what I did is I put together a bonus package that ultimately was worth more than what they were selling.
Okay.
So they were teaching people how to launch a mastermind. And I, at the time, already had a mastermind that I was running. I've already launched masterminds for other people. So I believed in what they were doing. I believed in them helping experts to launch a mastermind, right? But I knew mathematically that I could hit my email list, I could hit my socials, and I could hit my ad campaigns with this message of launching a mastermind. So number one, you have to believe in the product, right? So I believed in masterminds as a vehicle for experts to have a business model that incorporates the mastermind component. The other thing was I was willing to spend up to $1,000, whereas most affiliates were not. So I was the first on the scene outside of Dean and Tony to really put any budget behind advertising. I knew my math. All the other affiliates I knew weren't thinking about the back end. They weren't thinking about upgrading members who bought their thing into a 25K mastermind or any other programs, right? Affiliates just genuinely don't think that way.
No.
So when we spent the 50K on lead gen, it was all getting people to register for their webinar. The lead cost was coming in right. I was getting a lot of good messages. Once sales happened, then I was like, okay, let's go, let's ramp it up, because they had a leaderboard contest for opt-ins, and then they had a leaderboard contest for sales. And I wasn't actually number one or number two or number three or number four or number five on the opt-ins, but I was number 4 on sales, because at the end of the day, I had a better bonus package. We gave them Apple Watch or AirPods. We gave them a 3-day event in San Diego where they could see a mastermind demonstrated, because many of them had never been to a mastermind.
And you already had the mastermind anyway. So it's like, what is it?
I already had a mastermind at this point. Yeah. And so I was like, let's throw an event. Let's throw a mastermind for all these buyers and give them a free ticket, of which in and of itself, I would have normally charged at least $10K to even be a part of it. Right. So the perceived value of my bonuses were a no-brainer. In fact, one of the people in their group commented in their community and said, who has the best bonus package? And it was like Dulaney. So then I took that narrative, the best KBB bonus program on the planet, and I created ads to echo that narrative.
Dude.
But we were advertising on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Google. We were ranking on SEO. So because I owned mastermindbonus.com, the program was mastermind.com.
Is that your step one, is just buy a domain that's near whatever they're selling?
Yeah, that is step one for me. But you got to look at the terms of the affiliate program, because a lot of times they don't allow you to do that. Like I'll give you an example with ClickFunnels. I've driven millions of dollars for ClickFunnels and been one of their top affiliates because I've known Russell for a long time. And he told me about ClickFunnels before it was even called ClickFunnels. I was at Traffic and Conversion Summit and Russell was there. And I was like, hey man, what's going on? What's new? He's like, oh, I'm launching this new funnel builder. It's called Success, etc. I was like, hold on a second. Success, etc. Like, that's a weird name. He's like, oh, we're thinking about calling it ClickFunnels. I was like, definitely call it ClickFunnels, bro. Like, I'm telling you right now, like, Success, etc. is not going to fly. Like, ClickFunnels. That very same day, I bought ClickFunnelsBonus.com, ClickFunnelsReviews.com, ClickFunnelsNinja.com. So I like secured a bunch of domains for $10. Like, what do I have to lose, right? When Russell told me he was partnering with Tony and Dean, he told me about how he bought mastermind.com for Tony and Dean for $600,000 and just film. Well, that was before it ever was like a public announcement. And so I bought mastermindbonus.com that day. And I was like, I just sat on it. I was like, I might promote this. I might not. Like, mind you, like I was full-fledged in my business, in my agency, working my tail off. I mean, the last thing I needed was another promotion to do. So at that point, I mean, we're talking 2018, 2019, like my business was on fire. I mean, I was doing consulting days 3-4 days a week with new people. So, you know, at 15K a clip. So it's like I was the only reason, and the funny part of the story is the reason why I did it is because I had a guy buy an hour of consulting, which typically goes to someone on the team. And his girlfriend was a friend of mine. And she said, hey, Bryan, can you actually just take this call? He's like, you know, he's a great guy, blah, 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 blah. I'm dating him. I'm like, sure, fine. And I ended up talking to him and he was like, telling me how he's going to do this Tony Robbins promotion. But he just irked me. He was just hitting me with all these random things, negative Nancy. And it just irked me. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. Like, it was like out of annoyance and the conversation with him. I'm like, all right, I'm going to smoke this dude. Like, and that's why I did it. And then I found out about the Fiji trip. I'm like, all right, like I really want to be in Fiji. Like to me, being with Tony Robbins, hanging out with him barefoot in Fiji at his resort and doing excursions with Tony, like I would pay $150K just for that.
How much did you charge for 1 day of consulting?
Tony?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, I don't know. His consulting is like $1 million.
For a day.
I don't know if that's a day or if that's I don't know what that is at this point, but he charges a lot. And my mind was if I get the opportunity to pick Tony's brain and hang out with him on a personal private level in a small group setting with like 10 people, like that's worth a lot. You know what I mean? Like that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like you can't even pay for that. Right. So that was also the driving force behind it. But my mindset, and this is a really important distinction, my mindset was I could spend $150K and make $150K on the front end because the back end is where I'll make all my profits.
Okay, so how does that help me understand? Because I'm not typically a process guy, but I like to visualize it. So you have a link that drives traffic to their landing page, Dean's and Tony's.
Yep.
Now they go in, they register, they sign up. But you put something on the front of that link to grab their email address to build your list.
I did. So I put up on mastermindbonus.com, I put up a page that laid out, number one, it was the first step was all about, it's a multi-step process. So I was like, step one is register for this webinar that Tony and Dean are doing. Step two was like, you know, to get all of these bonuses for free, use this link, buy through this link, right? So yeah, that first page, number one, I'm cooking them so I can retarget through adroll.com and through the pixels, the Facebook pixel.
Mm-hmm.
So I want everyone to land there. I don't want everyone to land on their link.
Right.
That's very important. The other thing I did was, and this is important for like crediting sales, is in order for them to get their bonus package from me, they needed to send me their receipt. So I could double track those guys over there because there's always slippage and breakage with most affiliate programs.
Right.
And they get uncookied because like what happens if they see it on their computer, but then they go and just go right to the URL on their phone? It's not cross-cookied. And I would lose that sale. Anybody who owns a product knows this about affiliate programs, but nobody talks about it because it's typically about 20% of sales comes through uncookied registered users, which is
That's interesting.
pretty significant. Nobody talks about this, but I've been on both sides. I've been the affiliate and I've been the owner and run an affiliate program. So I know like how this game is played. Now with Millionaire Man Cave, you can't even register without a link. So there's no way to just come in. So we shut that down so that everybody does get credit. Right.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that link then, you got them, but how do you sell them you gave them the bonuses, but I guess okay, so you're selling on the back end at the mastermind.
At the mastermind, right. So
Okay, got it. That
we do this event because we said, $2,000 buyers are really great buyers to sell into a 25K or higher level package. Okay, that's been the name of the game of this industry for a long, long time, like the last 30 years. Like people have been doing events. They always know that if you have $1,000 or $2,000 buyer, those people are great buyers for a 25K or a 15K or a 50K, right? So my mindset was, okay, let's just get all these people, and we had over 500 people buy Tony's and Dean's program. Out of that, 239 people showed up. So 239 unique buyers in the room, right? And then we took them through a process of like education and learning and networking and workshopping. What was their mastermind? Like, what is the thing they're going to launch? And then we presented an offer at 25K where out of that room, 239 people, 69 of them put a $500 deposit down and filled out an application.
Amazing.
Now that number is really, that's not normal, but that goes to show how good of an offer our mastermind was when you have really high conversion from, ultimately, let's call it a $2,000 ticket to a 25K ticket. But really, they didn't have to spend anything to get to the event. All they had to do is fly in and pay for their hotel room and board. Like we didn't charge a penny. We made them put down a $97 refundable deposit, but when they got to the room, they got to the event, there was a check in their welcome package for their $97 back. Because it wasn't about the $97. It was about seeing who was committed to show up.
Good.
Because, if we would have gave all 550 or whatever people who bought a free ticket, and then we set up the room with 550 seats, expecting them all to show up, and then 239 only showed up, then that creates a logistical problem at the event. You got to make name badges, and all that stuff is like useless unless you know exactly who's showing up at the event.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And the amount of money you saved by not trying to get people to the event, because you just took Tony's and Dean's audience, clients, and brought them to your place for free.
Oh yeah, I would have spent way more to get if I was selling that mastermind that event, because it was really an event. If I was selling that event as a ticket price, I would have spent more than $150,000 to get 239 people into the room.
Easy.
100%. Like no doubt about it. But because they bought their thing, it was perfect because they were great. And I had 5 people that filled out an application for our $100 offer. We threw out a price anchor, it's called a price anchor of a $100K offer, which we really didn't even intend on selling, but it's always good when you do an event to have a price anchor, have a very high ticket offer that makes your other offer, like a 25K, look small.
Principles of Influence by Dr. Cialdini.
That's right.
Yeah, 100%. That's why Costco, you walk in and you get hit with a $2,000 TV up front. So by the time you get back to the steaks, a $60 steak doesn't seem so much, right?
That's right.
I love it. I freaking love it. And the social proof that you got, think about it. You got 239 people that showed up, but there were people there who paid 10K to be there, to be in a room.
Yep.
They don't know that not everybody paid 10K.
Yep.
They think they're in a room with a few hundred people who all paid 10K to be there, which now elevates your status like crazy.
Yep. It was a great event. And it's a brilliant model. It works. We did it twice. We did the next year, spent $250,000 on that one. And we just rinsed and repeated.
That's amazing, Bryan. Let me ask you something. What would you credit to? Because let me just backpedal a little. I'm from the era of like Bob Proctor's, stickman, think, feel, do, results.
Yep.
So your results and the actions that you take are, they're just a reflection of your belief system and your thoughts and your thought process. So I would call you a big thinker.
Yes.
Where do you credit that to?
I would say, so in 2005, I stumbled into network marketing through Amway, and that got me into personal development. It opened up my eyes to this whole world of personal development, the magic of thinking big, thinking go rich, Og Mandino, Jim Rohn, Tony. Like, dude, first of all, I was in my mid 20s and I just stumbled upon these authors. And I'm like, where in the world has this been all my life? Like, this is actually enjoyable. Like, I was reading stuff that I was forced to read because I had to write a paper a lot on it, like on Beowulf or whatever, right? Julius Caesar, right? Like all these things I had no interest in at all, but I had to do it because it's like part of the curriculum. Well, when personal development came into my world, it just was so captivating. And I then read a book called The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Campbell. And I realized, oh, I've been programmed my whole life by the school system, my parents, by the media. Like, I wasn't consciously programming myself. But I realized, and then Secrets of the Millionaire Mind came out. I read that book by T. Harv Eker, that if I wanted to be wealthy, I needed to stop thinking like someone who's broke, right? And so I went through a neuro like rewiring, if you will, where for that year I did not date. I just went absolutely gangbusters on personal development.
Was that
And
intentional? Like, did you know that you were lacking something, and then this just opened a whole new world
I
for you?
wanted to be successful. I was driven by wanting to be successful, wanting to eventually start a family, get married, be a provider, right? And I realized leaders are readers, they would say. When I read Tony's book, he talked about how in the beginning of his career, he worked with Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn helped him to like develop his mindset. And so I figured, if this is what Tony did to become successful, then I should probably do what he did, which was read like 250 books in a year, right? Like, and I didn't just read it. I read it, highlighted it, took notes. Like, I passionately consumed it.
You studied it, yeah.
Yeah, I studied it. I bought a huge whiteboard from Home Depot. Those big whiteboards that you can just like, pin to the wall. Takes up the whole wall. It's like 8 foot by 4 foot or whatever. And I would just put all of these thoughts right on the wall. So I would say 100% that contributed to my success, to build my belief. And then I would do something and get a win, and then just like try to reproduce that process over and over again. Because mind you, like by the time I got to 2019, like I already had all of this experience of affiliate marketing, all this experience of launching brands, scaling brands, right? So I had all figured out. I built a lot of belief. I also had the budget available to be able to spend it and not worry about it as well. So that's a factor, right? Like that's definitely a factor. In the beginning, I started as an affiliate with driving free traffic and driving a small ad budget through Google ads and Yahoo ads, because I was on a budget, like I had to, but I mastered free traffic and manipulating the search engines back in like 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 10, like throughout that whole span of time, I was leveraging free traffic as much as possible. And then when Google changed their algorithm, they introduced this Panda update. We had 1,000 websites that we used to rank our other websites, and they whacked 1,000 websites in 10 days, 100 a day. And that was like a very defining moment for me when I said, okay, I'm never going to rely on free traffic again. I got to go figure out paid, because I used that 1,000 blog network to sell it as a service to other people to leverage. And I launched a service that went from 0 to 75,000 a month in recurring continuity in less than 90 days.
Oh, wow.
Without spending a penny on advertising. Didn't spend a penny. And I was like, man, this is my ticket to like $1 million a month. Like I was like, this is the ticket, And I had a few really big promoters that could have took me to 100,000, $500,000 a month, $1 million a month easily. These were big names. And I basically did the service for free. I said, hey, if this works for you, I'd love for you to be a promoter of this. And they're like, cool. And so I literally just got to the point where I like flushed them through the system for 90 days and all their rankings were improving and they were getting results. So the next natural step was to ask like, hey, would you mind promoting this? You'll get a 25% recurring continuity commission on it. And then that's when Google came in and the bloodbath of Panda came and wrecked everything. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go master paid. And that's when I dug deep into paid traffic to never be in that situation again. I kind of like let SEO go because I was like, I just got such a bad taste in my mouth from, doing all the things you need to do to manipulate the search engines was a lot in and of itself.
I can imagine.
Like the search engines are
land.
The search engines are not like in the business of letting people manipulate them. We had just figured out how to.
It's kind of brilliant, man. I absolutely love it. Okay, I gotta ask before, because I want to talk to you a little bit about how you transitioned from that life, which you're still in the marketing space, but how you went.
Yeah.
Like, what's Millionaire Man Cave all about, and how did you guys even come up with that idea? But I gotta know, and I'm sure our people who are watching gotta know, what was it like on that island with Tony Robbins and all the other winners?
Oh man, it was great. It was Tony Robbins, it was Lewis Howes, it was Joel Marion, it was Russell Brunson, it was Jenna Kutcher, just some real powerhouses in the room, and it was super laid back, low key. It was super chill, very restorative because we had a lot of downtime to get massages or go work out or go in the cold plunge and all the things, right, at Tony's resort. But my biggest question for him, because I was living in San Diego at the time in La Jolla, and my question to him was, man, what is your tax strategy, bro? I was like, I'm living in California and I feel like I'm getting raped over here, And Tony said, I love La Jolla. I lived there for a while, lived in Del Mar. It's great, blah, blah, blah. He goes, but I'll tell you what, I moved to Florida, saved $25 million in my taxes in my first year, and bought my house in Palm Beach with cash. He said, so if I were you, I'd move to Florida. I was like, dude, is that really all you got for me? Like, there's got to be some other things. And he's like, no, that's it, man. Just move to Florida. And this is pre-COVID, right? This is months before the world changed. And so COVID popped and we ended up moving across country to Florida. And that's why we're here now in Sarasota. Because
so I mean, I can see the headline. Tony Robbins told me to move to Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. We were early on it. I mean, my wife and I were talking about moving somewhere. John Lee Dumas was trying to get us to move to Puerto Rico. We've had friends in Texas and Florida. I'm a big fisherman, so I love the ocean. I love being on the water. So for us, it was really Florida, because Texas, the only place that's great in Texas with ocean is like Hurricane Central. And so my wife was like, let's move to Florida. So we just drove our RV throughout the state and we just were praying about where God would have us land, and he had us land here in Sarasota.
Lucky us, man. It's good to have you here in Sarasota. I came across your stuff when I was one of the ones that opted into something and got your golden ticket. I showed you, I still have it. It was the USB. I thought it was one of the most brilliant marketing campaigns I've ever seen in my life. It was awesome. And so when your name came up with this Millionaire Man Cave, I'm like, wait, Bryan Dulaney, Willy Wonka. By the way, guys, Google or go to YouTube and just search Bryan Dulaney, Willy Wonka golden ticket, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is the level of marketing genius Bryan is.
It's free, or just go to freegoldenticket.com. You can see it. It's not for sale because we sold out of tickets. We moved 10,000 USB drives and we sold out. We are planning on doing it again.
I have one for $5,000 if you want it.
Yeah, that was a fun campaign. And my wife, to give her a lot of credit, she had written a thesis on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory in college. And so she gave me the idea for it. I was just trying to give away some of our best 7 and 8 figure funnels across different spectrums, like e-commerce, agency, and expert businesses.
It's right here.
She was one.
This was the USB.
Yep.
Golden ticket. 8-figure golden ticket. It's just the coolest thing. I've never even seen a USB like this, but You pull
Yeah.
this out, plug it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really neat. I don't know, just really cool idea, Bryan.
Yeah. And
Um,
one thing is like, I wanted people to see that campaign and see what's possible when you have a creative mind on it.
yeah,
In marketing, you got to think, what makes me better, different, unique than anybody else out there doing it. Like that's a writer downer. It's like, what makes you better, different, unique than anybody else in the marketplace? And if you can figure out what the differentiation is, then that's your leverage point. And so when you look at that, number one, we are planning on doing like a Wonka 2.0, which will be a lot of fun because we have 3 kids now. And so they can dress up like Oompa Loompas and it'll be a lot of fun.
oh, that's gonna be a blast, and it's something they'll never ever forget.
That's right.
Um, how did you go from like? Tell me about the idea of Millionaire Man Cave.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you the backstory on that. So a buddy of mine from San Diego in our church there, he knows I'm a big fisherman. And he hit me up about a year ago and said, "Hey man, I know you like to come to Alaska to fish. Have you ever thought and considered coming to somewhere new?" I was like, "Well, I'm open to it." And so he told me about how he has a lodge. It can hold about 15 guys on the Kenai River. And so he told me this whole thing. We can do ATVs and we can do the Kenai River fishing, and then we can go to the beach and do offshore, basically beach fishing for halibut and all these things, right? I was like, dude, it sounds amazing. Like, let's do it. I'm in. Like, I have groups of guys that go on fishing trips, whether it's down in Louisiana or here in Florida or out to Alaska. And there's nothing quite like Alaska. I mean, Alaska fishing is off the chain. It is epic. It's more like catching than it is like fishing because it's just constant. You're active all the time. There's that many fish. And so, anyways, I booked this trip for us to go out in June to spend, 4 nights on his property and on his lot at his lodge. And at the same time, I was talking to him because he was like, "Man, Bryan, I feel like I'm in a place in my life where I want to really give back." He had already, in his business generated over 8 figures in commissions. And he wanted to help 5 figure and 6 figure affiliates or network marketers to be able to get to that 7 and 8 figure level like he's been able to do. And so him and I were talking one night. And I'm like, he was just picking my brain on like, what could he do? What could he launch? How could he launch it? I was like, man, listen, if you want to do this right, you and I should sit down for a day and really map this thing out and really like flesh out the business model. This is what I do. Like, let's do a day together and deep dive this thing and sink our teeth into it. So you have the right plan before you go out and launch something, right? And so he agreed. And so I sent him an agreement. He signed the agreement. We picked the day. Then about 2 weeks later, he hits me back and he goes, "Bryan, God woke me up in the middle of the night and radically shifted my vision." And the download he got was, it's not about I, it's about we. And so God gave him this vision of 12 men leading a group of men to improve their life across 6 pillars: faith, fitness, family, friendship, finances, and fight. And ultimately, it's about helping men up level, get more accountability in their life, get other strong men in their life who they're doing life with, and up level, right? Like improve their relationships with their wife, improve their relationships with their children, improve their relationships with their friendship, right? And so, anyway, part of that vision that God dumped on him that night, he filled up an entire journal that night. He said, my name was one of them. So God had highlighted 15 people in his life to be a part of the creation of this, what's now called Millionaire Man Cave. And so he told me the whole vision, shared the whole thing with me. It was just in a Google Doc, plain text. And I said, "Cool, man." I said, he's like, "Talk to your wife about it, pray about it. Let me know what happens." So that night I told my wife about it. My wife was instantly on board, because God had been speaking to her about things similar years previously. God had shown her some things of areas that I would be leading in years prior to me having this conversation with her. So when I presented her with this, she was like, "Love it. Like, I support it." And so in business, I found that it's important to incorporate your wife into decisions. It's wisdom there to do that. So prayed about it that night and God woke me up 7 times that night with the words "all in" flashed before my eyes with a group of men in different environments, outdoors, indoors, all over the place. So I woke up and I'm like, well, I guess I'm all in on this thing. Like the message is clear, go all in. And so I canceled my fishing trip and I went to spend a week with Bryan to just go deep on this for that entire week that I'd already booked for a fishing trip. I still got some fishing in it. I just had to reroute the agenda.
That's pretty cool. So what really interested me, and I have a group, I have my Relentless Goal Achievers group. It's for like solopreneurs, coaches who are just starting out, they're maybe leaving their 9 to 5. They don't really know. I can get them to 6 figures. That's the goal. Like 6 figures in your business in 12 months as a solopreneur. Teaching them how to sell, social media, building brand, all that stuff. And with me, I've had this group for a while. At the peak, it had like 70 members. Then it dropped down to like 28, then 36. Now we're at 50. So it's like, 1 step in, 5 steps out. And I haven't figured out how to get the membership up to where I want 400. That's my vision. 400, boom. And when we were talking to you the first time, and there was zero doubt in your mind, you're like, by July, I think you mentioned, you're like, we're going to have 4,000 men in this group. I think that's the figure you said. And in the back of my head, I'm like, how in the hell is this guy so confident about having 4,000 men in his group? And here I am in my group trying to figure out how to get 400. Tell me about, how do you see that happening?
Yeah.
And how are you so confident with it?
So here's what I'll say. I'm in the business of launching expert brands, right? Memberships, coaching, courses, masterminds, workshops, all the things, right? And so that's my business. And so when Bryan presented this to me, number one, I loved it because I had already had a continuity program like you have, Eric, and I had priced it at $97 a month and $197 a month. I had 2 levels, and it was a killer offer. I mean, I'm in the business of making irresistible offers that when they're presented to the market, the people think I've got to be a dumbass to say no. Like that's how my lens of looking through offers is. I call it a DOW, a dumbass offer, right? So if you're not making an offer that people come to that conclusion, then you need to make it better. Okay. So when Bryan presented this, number one, I'd already had a membership community coaching program that I was going to lead and run, but I never launched it because it was so much of a lift for me. It was so much more responsibility on my plate. Okay. So I've never launched it. When Bryan presented this, what I loved is he said, the vision is 12 men, like the 12 disciples went out and changed the world. And so it went from me carrying the torch to having 12 brothers being able to carry the torch with me. Right. Like none of us could have done this could do this alone. Number one. Number two, on a cadence of weekly coaching and accountability and mentorship, well, 12 guys, that's 1 guy per quarter, right? And so there's a cycle. So it goes from me doing every week to me doing now once a quarter, right? So the burden, the load is not as heavy. But the other side of the component, and it's more diverse. I mean, when you have 12 experts that are all 7, 8, and some 9-figure earners pouring into a community, you're going to get different perspectives and that you never would have gotten if it was just one guy, which is the marketplace. The marketplace is typically just one guy or maybe 2, like a Tony and Dean. They come together, right? But it's never normally more than that, right? So when I saw this as uniquely different, remember that word, what makes it better, different, unique than anyone in the market? Number one was 12 successful men pouring into other people's lives. That was a big differentiation. So that's number one. And the self-education is growing to $1 trillion a year industry. In 2019, it was already 400 million a day. So I was like, okay, there's something here. Okay. Number 2 was because Bryan's world, comes from the direct selling industry. He was a part of a company called Prove It for 630,000 people buying that product on a monthly basis. That's a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So when he presented me, he said, Bryan, I want to take that model, and instead of giving the money to Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and all the platforms, we're going to give back to members. I was like, that's brilliant. I was like, companies that have that model explode because they instead of taking that budget that they would normally give to Facebook and YouTube, they give it back to its members, right? So I saw those two things and I said, this is how we're going to have explosive growth. Now, what gives me confidence in being at 4,000 members, 4,000, 5,000 members, 6,000 members, whatever that is before we go public, because right now we're in pre-launch, right? By the time we go to launch, not only are all 12 IP contributors in place, but the 3,600 founding members will also be in place. And so we go from that place of 3,600 men. My mind, it's like having one ad account to having 3,600 ad accounts. And that's how you create explosive growth. And that's the type of growth that this industry is used to. When they launch, you'll see it. I mean, there was a peptide company. I got introduced to a guy in a peptide company last week. They did 100 million in their first year, last year.
Wow.
The only reason that was possible was because they chose to incentivize and pay their members for bringing new people into the product than using the traditional marketing method of spending money to acquire.
That's brilliant. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to have to pick your brain at some point about how to create a killer offer, because I've been a part of Millionaire Man Cave for probably a month now. We did the Fire to Fire at your place. 50 guys showed up. It's really powerful stuff. I didn't join to be an affiliate. I didn't join to build a business, but I shared it with a few guys. They joined, and I see I'm getting paid for it. I'm like, damn, that's pretty cool. Now I'm incentivized to go share this with others. And by the way,
my advice for you, Eric, is, the price point on yours is what? $197 a month?
For my continuity program, $149.
$149. Yeah. So for me, like if I was you, I'd be doing webinars.
Mm-hmm.
One to many. That's what I would be doing.
Yeah. I actually did my first webinar 2 months ago. Okay. I had, God, it was really good. It was a couple hundred people signed up. I think we had 100 on the call, 30 booked to call, a couple bought in.
Cool.
So it wasn't bad, but I do want to do more webinars. Okay, that's really cool. But I could also create some killer offer that's like, if you join Millionaire Man Cave, you'll get access to my group as long as you stay in. This way, you can get the mentorship to be for your family and with the man.
And one little feature, I'm going to give you a sneak peek preview. We're doing this with some other gentlemen in the group.
Yeah.
So Dr. Matt Hubbard is an IP contributor. He oversees a very large church in San Diego, and they have a men's event called Emerge. So he came to us last week and he said, Bryan, can I have a private chat room inside a Millionaire Man Cave for all of my guys that are going to be going to Emerge? So we can message them in the app. And so we said, yeah, we can 100%. We thought about it first. We're like, can we do this? And we're like, yeah, we can. And so what we're doing is, so Hubbard, I call him Hubbard, but Pastor Dr. Matt, his goal is 650 guys from his campus. There's a South campus with his goal is 450 members. And so inside a Millionaire Man Cave, we're going to have a private group for all of his guys at his church that can join Millionaire Man Cave and be in this. They'll have a private chat board, and they'll have the ability to put an event there. They'll put their events on the calendar. It'll all be private to them, their group, and they can put course videos there. They can put a variety of things in there. But basically what we're allowing them to do is to leverage our platform to have a private place. They can communicate with each other instead of doing it on Slack or a Facebook group, or they can have it within this app. And they can also still get the coaching and accountability that Millionaire Man Cave brings to the table.
I love it.
So that's a cool, we haven't announced that yet. That's a very cool, because we'll have guys. I mean, Hubbard will put 1,000 dudes in himself. That's the kind of influence he has.
That's pretty.
They have 2,000-3,000 men that show up to their Emerge events every year.
Wow,
just in San Diego.
I was just in Maryland this weekend. And my brother-in-law, I got him in, And he told me, he's like, dude, I love this app. He said, I was looking for a fire to fire here. There's none here in Maryland. I'm like, well, you got to start one.
Yeah.
And he said, but what's really cool is it shows me, it recommends guys who have similar interests to me. So then he showed me some doctor that's in there. He's like, I love what he's doing. I already reached out to him and message. We're gonna have a call.
Nice.
I'm like, dude, that's the power of a community. A guy in Maryland connecting with a doctor in Florida because they have similar interests, and
Yep.
it's
That's
a
what it's
powerful
about.
group.
It's
So
about connecting men to other men that are on the same, that have the same vision and mission of growth first and foremost. But that's cool. I mean, we had a guy, just for example, one of the guys from here, Sean, hosted a fire to fire in Salt Lake City. He went to an event, ended up speaking. The guy that was on stage speaking, he's like, dude, this guy would be amazing for Millionaire Man Cave. Goes up to him and approaches him, tells him about Millionaire Man Cave. He busts out his phone and he goes, you mean this? He's already a member.
I love it. That's so cool, man. And I know Sean. Sean's wild. That guy, he's probably meditating somewhere now with Joe Dispenza. I don't know. But that's all. I don't even know what he does or how he makes money, but he's just traveling and meditating 24/7 and attracting that. Very cool. Bryan, before we go, and by the way, if you're interested, ladies, this will improve your relationship if your man joins this community. Dudes, you want to lose weight, you want to strengthen your relationship with your family, growing your finances, growing your personal growth here. Great community. I'm gonna post my link in the comments here. So check it out, learn more about the group. $97 a month. It's freaking awesome. Bryan, before we go, is there anything that you wished in your heart of hearts that I would ask you that I just did not ask?
No, man. I mean, I could be here all day talking. I mean, I've got so much. Yeah.
I really enjoyed this conversation, but I'm looking, we're already over an hour in. I know you got a lot to do, and I got my call coming up really soon.
Here's what I would say. What comes to me when you ask that question is one of the reasons I believe I won the Tony Robbins competition 2 years in a row and beat out some guys with audiences 1,000 times bigger than mine was I had a very clear word at that time as well, which was go all in. Go all in to win. And so I approached with that mindset of like, I'm going to do everything within my power and my control to go all in, whether that meant going live every day during the promotion, right? I did it, right? I did everything that I knew I could do. And I did it with excellence. So whatever it is that you're doing or going after, right? Go all in on it, right? If, for you, Eric, it's 400 members in your community, your continuity. It's like, dude, go all in, man. Like, don't hold back. Go all in. Be more aggressive with your posting schedule on socials. Be more aggressive on your ad campaigns. Line up affiliate relationships that can promote your webinar, right? Host more webinars. Do them weekly, right? Like, just go all in. Magic is on the other side, I believe, of going all in. And you never know, like, because I promoted Tony, I want to say something really fast. I never knew that my dad would have cancer. After the second Tony Robbins promotion, we found out my dad had stage 4 esophageal cancer. And I didn't know what to do, but I hit up Dean, who was connected to Tony, because I can't just text Tony. He doesn't give his cell phone out that easily. And I said, hey, man, could you talk to Tony for me and find the best cancer specialist in the country or in the world that we could get my dad to? Dean got to Tony. Tony put a message in with his guy in Texas who was in his mid-80s, didn't even see new people. But he got an appointment with my dad to go to Texas and to see him. That would have never happened if I didn't promote Tony and Dean's promotion or campaign. Wow. And just to think about that, right? Like, I feel that, like, because I went all in on that and I fully supported those guys and being successful, like, that unlocked the opportunity for me to get my dad the care that would have never been possible if it wasn't for the fact that I went all in. So you just never know the relationships that are going to come, when you serve. when you serve other people's vision. And I've seen that time and time and time again. So that's what I would encourage you to go all in on whatever it is that you're doing, and surround yourself with other people that are big believers, that have strong faith, that that believe for abundance and success.
I love it. Yeah, the first ever fire to fire at your house that we did, um, when we separated into groups, we had like 5 or 6 guys in my group. 3 of them exited companies for millions of dollars and are looking for their next thing. And it's
Yep.
just the power of that small mastermind right there. The amount of stuff I can learn was just, and right away we started texting the next day. Hey, when are you back in town? Let's grab lunch. Like, the
Nice.
relationships that are going to come out of this Millionaire Man Cave are going to be amazing. Thanks to you. I'm looking forward to building our relationship and adding value to you as well. Thank you for being so open and coming on the episode, man. I really, really
Yeah, man.
appreciate you.
Thanks
All
for
right.
having me. Good time.
Guys, share this with your friends, share this with your mama, and we'll see you on the next episode.